Gunfire erupts in downtown Topeka.
The primary focus was to get this dangerous subject in custody as quickly and without any further deaths.
See how the pursuit ended with a man pulled out of a bullet-riddled car, and hear about the homicide investigation at the heart of this dramatic day. Plus, Dana Chandler back in court with new requests for the judge while the DA decides how to proceed in this double murder case. And new numbers tonight reveal a downward trend for higher education enrollment in Kansas. And a good evening once again to you. Welcome along for 13 News at 6 tonight. I'm David Oliver.
And I'm Melissa Miller in for Melissa Bruner. We're going to start tonight with a wild situation in the heart of the capital city. A shooting, chase, and subsequent police shootout with a murder suspect.
Count on 13 News to bring you full team coverage of this incident right here on our broadcast tonight. We're going to begin right here with this video of the chase's end. It was captured by one of our 13 News viewers. This was over at 6th in Kansas this morning near Fidelity Bank. Shots were fired. Then you can see officers, guns drawn there, converging on the suspect vehicle.
And then as we zoom in here, you can see police pulling an individual from that vehicle. Witnesses tell us that person was a man, and there was also a woman in the passenger seat. Authorities say both people were taken to the hospital. One suffered critical injuries and is being guarded by law enforcement. The other is in stable condition.
And Topeka police held a press conference just this afternoon, a couple of hours ago now, over at 6th and Quincy to give us more information about what they know so far about the incident.
That's also where shots were first fired during a chase between the suspect and law enforcement. 13's Victoria Cassell is live there now. Victoria, what are authorities saying?
David and Alyssa, I am live here at 6th and Quincy in downtown Topeka. This is where just a few hours ago authorities held a news conference updating the public about a pursuit today where a Topeka police officer was shot. Topeka Police Chief Brian Willis says that injured officer was wearing a bulletproof vest which saved them from serious injury. He says the officer was treated at a local hospital and has been released. Shots first began being fired between the here at 6th and Quincy. In this video, you can see a tire on the suspect's vehicle was blown out in the pursuit before it continued through downtown. While authorities could not comment on how many shots were fired by officers, the chief did give the number of officers and deputies involved in the gunfire.
I can tell you that we have 9 police officers from the police department who are on administrative leave.
And 1 from the sheriff's office.
And just to clarify, those officers and deputy will be placed on paid administrative leave. TPD says it will investigate this morning's homicide, but the KBI will take over the officer-involved shooting investigation. Live here at 6th and Quincy. Back to you all in the studio.
Thank you for that, Victoria. Now we're going to go to 13's Lane Gillespie. He's just a few blocks away where the chase ended in more gunfire.
Lane, what do you know tonight about the damage that was left behind with all of this happening over there today?
David, Alyssa, I am live at 6th and Kansas Avenue where the chase did end. Now the incident did leave some damage, as you just mentioned. First off, when the vehicle that you see on camera right now, when the vehicle crashed, did run into a couple of parked cars. Thankfully, nobody was in their parked cars and nobody was hurt from that. But there was some damage to the townsite tower just right beside it. There was some stray gunfire that did hit a couple of windows, including shattering a a glass-made door. There were some eyewitnesses in the tower, and here's what they had to say about what they saw.
I was up on the 16th floor and we were doing our work and I heard a whole bunch of sirens, so I got up and I went to go look to see, and I seen the silver car come down Quincy and it was turning the corner, and then I seen another, the police officer, I seen all the cops coming.
And then we just start hearing gunshots, and then I start seeing bullet holes appearing in the hood of the police car. So then this guy turns and is going this way, and then all the cops start coming and they start shooting at his car and doing all kind of other stuff. He's returning fire, and I'm just filming. I'm like, what the hell is going on here in Topeka, Kansas? And I mean, it's like a war scene.
This is, of course, a frightening situation here in the capital city. We will keep a close eye on the investigation, and we will give you information as we see it. Live from 6th and Kansas Avenue, this is Lane Gillespie. David, Alyssa, back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Lane Gillespie, part of our team coverage tonight. With that in mind, let's go ahead and take a step backward in time to get more perspective on what happened today.
Yeah, 13's Chris Fisher is live in our studio to map out just how much of the capital city was impacted in this pursuit. Chris?
Yeah, Alyssa, from what we can determine, the chase lasted about a half hour or so and only stretched across 8 or so miles from the south side of Topeka, moving north into downtown. We'll start here at our first location towards the south end of the loop. Location number 1. This is the murder location at 3530 Southwest Cary Avenue. Police were called there around 9:32 this morning. We'll have more on that coming up for us in just a few moments. Now, our second location is here in the Highland Crest area. That is when police spotted the suspect vehicle. That was around an hour after the murder was first reported. That was at 10:30 this morning. Our third location of interest, we go up here to I-70 and Adams Street. That is when we heard on the scanner today. Now, police have not confirmed this to us, but we are pretty confident because over the scanner, we heard that police were calling for additional backup here at I-70 and Adams. They distinctly said that around 10:45 this morning. The chase moved up from the south towards Adams, then it went into downtown Topeka. Our fourth spot is here at 10th and Jackson. You see police, you see all this crime scene tape roped off behind. Police did not tell us what happened to this white car, but the trunk is open, the hood is open. We don't know if there's bullet holes or not, but we do know that police were taking a very close look. That was right by the State House at 10th and Jackson. A little bit later, we go to our fifth location. And our final location, this is at 6th and Kansas Avenue, 6th and Quincy. We saw video of this. This is at the Townside Towers where everything ended there. And it's just a few pieces of the puzzle that we have put together based on what officials are telling us and what we've heard while listening to the scanner online. All of our questions about the specifics of the chase and the exact route to TPD have gone unanswered. David?
Good to see that perspective there, though, Chris. Thanks for that part of our coverage. And before the suspect's vehicle was spotted over there in the High Crest area, the investigation began. In fact, earlier this morning when officers responded out to a call regarding a homicide.
Yeah, 13's Jared Broyles takes us to the South Topeka home where that shooting occurred.
This is where it began, in the 3500 block of Southwest Cary Avenue, in a neighborhood tucked behind the intersection of Southwest Topeka Boulevard and Southwest 37th Street. The Topeka Police Department told 13 News that officers responded to a house just after 9:30 a.m. on reports of a shooting. Officers arrived to find one person who would later be pronounced dead at the scene and another who was injured. The second victim was taken to a local hospital by ambulance. TPD says both victims were injured by gunshot wounds. Both were adults, one male, one female. At the start of the investigation, about 8 homes and yards were cordoned off with crime scene tape. Captain Jerry Monosmith told 13 News that the suspect or suspects and victims know one another. Several units at the murder scene left abruptly around 10:45 a.m. Shortly after, scanner traffic indicated a high-speed chase had ensued, and there was a possible shootout with suspects involved in the shooting on Topeka's east side. Jared Broyles, 13 News.
So clearly, folks, a lot of moving parts with this developing story that's been unfolding for the good part of the morning hours, and we're piecing it together for you. And as we get updates in our newsroom, we're going to post those for you online at WIBW.com.
Certainly the top story of the day. But now we're going to go to Jeremy Goodwin in the First Alert Weather Center for a look at temperatures today. Jeremy?
Hi, David, Alyssa. Finally, something calm here. We have calm conditions in the weather, at least, with temperatures that are in the 70s. Very comfortable outside. Sun going down about an hour from now, so you still have some time to get outside and enjoy this beautiful day. There's a live look from the Cyrus Hotel over downtown Topeka. We have light winds. The dew point is just 40 degrees, and expecting to see an overnight low in the mid-40s tonight. Tomorrow, lots of sun. Temperatures a little warmer, close to 80, and a beautiful weekend on the way as well. We could see a significant cool down late next week. Your 8-day forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Jeremy. In other news, Dana Chandler's bond has been reduced as she heads into the trial cycle for a third time. The Shawnee County District Attorney's Office to try Chandler a third time for the 2002 murders of her ex-husband Mike Sisko and his fiancée Karen Harkness. A 2012 conviction was overturned in 2018, while her second trial ended in a hung jury earlier this month. Shawnee County Judge Cheryl Rios today approved a motion from the defense to reduce Chandler's bond from $1 million to $350,000. Rios also tentatively granted a change of venue for the next trial, saying a fair trial cannot be conducted in Shawnee County. That trial is currently scheduled to start February 6th.
Well, while there may be an increase in freshman enrollment overall, Kansas public higher education institutions continue to see a decline in enrollment for 2022. The Kansas Board of Regents says tonight, while public universities and community colleges saw a slight decrease, technical colleges saw a slight increase in enrollment numbers. Overall, the board indicated that the system saw a 1% decline in enrollment as of the 20th day of classes compared to the year 2021. Colleges were down more than 1,300 students, while tech schools saw an increase of nearly 570 students.
Interesting look at those numbers. Well, the worst of Hurricane Ian is over in Florida.
On the way here at 6 tonight, we're going to see how the federal government is now responding and preparing for further damage.
You're watching 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
And welcome back on this Thursday at 6. President Biden addressed the ongoing federal response to Hurricane Ian during a visit to FEMA today.
Yeah, both the president and the FEMA administrator warned the storm is still a danger, with predictions it will hit other states tomorrow. Deborah Alfarone reports from the White House.
You're doing a hell of a job.
President Biden personally thanked workers at the Federal Emergency Management Agency after he received a briefing on now Tropical Storm Ian.
My message to the people of Florida and to the country is, at times like this, America comes together.
The president again discussed the federal response in a call with Florida's Republican Governor Ron DeSantis Thursday morning. The two ideological rivals have, for now, put politics aside.
He thanked me for the immediate response we had. He told me how much he appreciated it, said he was extremely happy with what was going on. This is not about whether anything having to do with our disagreements politically. This is about saving people's lives, homes, and businesses.
President Biden says he's already approved federal disaster funds for at least 9 Florida counties, and the White House says more areas could be added as officials evaluate the damage. FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell is expected to travel to the Sunshine State Friday to check on response efforts.
FEMA and our partners across the federal, state, and local levels remain ready and prepared to help these communities in their greatest time of need.
President Biden says he also plans to go to Florida to thank rescue workers in person when conditions allow.
The Senate stands ready to help Floridians with whatever they need to stay safe and rebuild their communities.
Our thoughts and prayers are with everybody in Florida.
On Capitol Hill, lawmakers also pledged to do everything in their power to assist those affected. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
President Biden added he is committed to assisting Puerto Rico's recovery from Hurricane Fiona.
Yeah, in fact, he's already approved federal disaster funding, and more than 1,000 federal response workers are also on the island there right now.
Well, obviously, we're not getting any rain around here, but we are getting lots of sunshine.
Lots of sunshine out there, indeed. There's a live look at downtown Topeka from our Cyrus Hotel cam. Beautiful skies out there. The birds are enjoying the evening. We're going to enjoy a nice weekend ahead, too, and Jeremy looks ahead to the numbers next.
This is First Alert Weather.
Certainly a dry trend lately, but it's been very dry all year as well. This is the 2022 precip versus what would be average for this time in late September from the beginning of the year all the way through now. This is if you include the snow and freezing rain and everything else, melt that down into just rainwater, then add the rain with that. So this is how much liquid precipitation total it would be. Look at Garden City, 11 inches behind for the year 2022 so far. This total, that's 5 inches, is on pace to be less rain than Phoenix, Arizona sees in an average year. So extremely dry for Garden City. Farther west in the state, you tend to see less rainfall, but not that low. They tend to see anywhere from 15 to 20 inches of rain in the western part of the state in a calendar year. Chanute, 10 inches of rain behind schedule so far for the year. Dodge City, half a foot behind. Topeka running about 3 inches behind. Emporia also about 3. Northeast Kansas, we are seeing drier than normal conditions, but certainly not as bad of a drought in Northeast Kansas as we're seeing across much of the rest of the state. Exceptional drought's the highest category in the drought monitor. Southeast Kansas, a large area of that. Also western Kansas, several big pockets of exceptional drought. In Topeka, Much of Shawnee County, Wabaunsee, Osage County, we're not even in the abnormally dry category at this point, although lately it has been dry. So while we're seeing very little in the way of rain in northeast Kansas, much of the rest of Kansas is seeing far worse conditions with the extremely dry conditions of late. 74 degrees in the capital city now, dew point 40. It's comfortable all across the area. Light winds, the humidity remains low, and the rain remains absent from northeast Kansas once again. The closest precipitation to us is associated with what is Hurricane Ian. Again, now it's a Category 1. Of course, it made landfall in the southwest part of Florida yesterday afternoon as a Category 4. It also brought more than a foot of rain from Fort Myers to Daytona Beach, so flooding with that. Now the storm is heading towards South Carolina, where it should make another landfall sometime tomorrow into early Saturday morning. It's a Category 1 hurricane. Once it comes on shore, this will produce some wild flash flooding in states that have the Appalachian Mountains through the weekend and the early part of next week as well. So it's already been a disaster in Florida. It's going to cause major problems in South Carolina, and it will cause flooding for several days, including the weekend, all the way up into New England. Here's what we have for rainfall. That will cause a major mess to the east. For us, that's Monday, 0 rain. Next Wednesday to Thursday, 1/100th of an inch of rain showing over the model. Even that's unlikely. By next Sunday, if we're lucky, we'll get up to 1/10 of an inch of rain. That's by October the 9th. We have a very dry trend in place already and likely to stay very dry for the next week and a half. 79 tomorrow, lots of sun. 83 in Concordia, low humidity, really beautiful day. It's a nice weekend on the way as well, highs near 80 degrees. And then we have a drop off in temperatures a week from tomorrow with a high of 66, but still dry.
Jeremy, thanks so much.
Beautiful weather for those college football games. Speaking of football, the Chiefs' official game location for Sunday night has been announced.
We have that on the way, and 2 area high school teams won't be hitting the turf tomorrow night. You'll hear why next in sports.
This is 13 Sports.
Got a big update for the Chiefs Sunday night football game against the Bucs. Now, despite Hurricane Ian, the game will still be played in Tampa Bay, so no relocation to the Vikings Stadium in Minneapolis is going to be required. In a statement released today, the Bucs said the Tampa Bay area was spared the most damage consequences of the storm, and they've informed the NFL that after consulting with local and state agencies, they're ready to play Sunday night's game at Raymond James Stadium as originally scheduled. Kickoff is set for 7:20. Hear from the team ahead of the game on 13 Sports tonight at 10. Now some high school news. Northern Heights and Olpe will not play football this Friday, as Northern Heights will be forfeiting the game. The school told 13 News many of their senior players are injured, and they don't want to risk injury to their younger players. Something else to note, though, last week Northern Heights head coach Todd Callahan, he resigned, and Peyton Haynes will man the ship for the rest of the season. In a statement, the school said the team has recently experienced some unexpected turnover, resulting in significant changes. They need time to regroup and learn a whole new offense and defense in order to have a chance to compete in the future. Now over to some K-State news. Last Saturday, QB Adrian Martinez, he accounted for nearly 400 yards on offense, plus 5 total touchdowns. And this week, he's been raking in the honors. Well, let's add one more to the list now. 9 a.m. has been named a semifinalist for the 2022 William V. Campbell Trophy. That's awarded to the best football student athlete in the nation for his combined academic success, performance on the field, and exemplary leadership. Earlier this week, he was also named the Davey O'Brien National Quarterback of the Week and the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week. Also, some more news in Manhattan. K-State announced the opening of the Wildcat Marketplace today. In partnership with Open Doors, their student athletes now have an official online NIL market. There, Wildcat fans, brands, sponsors, and donors can browse, propose, book, and pay for NIL activities all on one platform. The student athletes can review those opportunities, accept deals, and receive compensation. And of course, in order to ensure compliance with NIL rules, deal activity is automatically disclosed to the school once the deal is completed. You can check that out at opendoors.com/Kansas State-Wildcats. That's going to do it for sports. We'll be back after this.
This is First Alert Weather.
We will continue to see dry weather the next few days, most likely for the next week, as a matter of fact. Temperatures a bit above average. We're getting late September, almost into October here, October beginning on Saturday, and temperatures will be in the low 80s for the entire weekend. Dry for high school football on Friday, dry for college football on Saturday, and dry all the way through next week. Our next chance of seeing any rain looks to be maybe next weekend, but the temperature next Friday, a week from tomorrow, will top out in the mid-60s. That's the only real change we see for quite a while.
Okay, Jeremy, thanks. Just a reminder, you can go to WIBW.com to get the very latest developments if we get any new information on that shooting in downtown Topeka today, an officer-involved shooting today. So a lot more to unpack on that, and we'll have it tonight at 10.
Yeah, and for now, you can watch Wheel of Fortune next. Have a great day.
Get the latest news, weather, and sports at WIBW.com or follow WIBW on Twitter, Facebook, and our mobile app. Thank you for making 13 News the most watched evening newscast.